Jimmy Garoppolo officially benched by the Raiders. We've talked about it, but Jimmy Garoppolo, hold on. It's November 1st, 2023, and Jimmy Garoppolo is no longer a starting quarterback in the NFL. Are you surprised? This happened quick. I mean, he thought he was going to the Raiders to stick it to Kyle Shanahan. Your plays freaking stink. You've got chaos over there. What did he call it? A little messy or whatever with his quarterback situation. He goes to the Raiders. He gets to go and play in his system with Josh McDaniels. He pushes out Derek Carr, and they're all gone. It's November 1st, 2023, and they're all gone. Jimmy's on the bench. Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised by this, Grant. I tried to tell Raider fans what was headed their way. They thought they were somehow getting an upgrade over Carr, who's not the greatest by any means, but he is not. He was never on Carr's level. We knew what Jimmy was here. We saw it game in and game out. And by the way, Jimmy had some good moments here. The 2019 49ers went to a Super Bowl. That team averaged 29.9 points per game. He was very efficient that season. He had a good the best 5-game run he had ever had with the 49ers with CMC right before he got hurt. But it was clear, man, that guy never had it. He was lifted up by the talent around him, the play calling, everything. He was never that guy. So no, I'm not surprised at all.
I'm not surprised either. I always felt he was a glorified backup. And I got this feeling when I watched, he was coming off an ACL. Okay. So it was like he had an excuse. He didn't have OTAs, but he was like there for training camp in 2019. And man, he wasn't better than Nick Mullins. And I know it was training camp, but you should look a lot better than Nick Mullins if you're a franchise quarterback. You're making whatever, 30-something million a year, and Nick Mullins is Nick Mullins. And I think he had a lot of people in the organization being like, oh, I think Nick Mullins might be pretty. Like, nah, it's just there's not a big enough gap between these two. There was a gap, but not a big enough. And I always felt like that says something about Jimmy Garoppolo. He's on a hell of a team. He has the best defense. The coach can scheme things open. We've seen that. He had Mike McDaniel for a long time and a great run game. I always wondered, like, what would it look like on another team? Well, we just found out. It would look terrible. And I think that's something to keep in mind with the latest quarterback, who I'm not going to say by name because it's not fair to just lump him in with Jimmy Garoppolo. They're not the same person. But I'm just saying, you as a fan, keep that in mind. You got to try to separate the quarterback from the team. And we just saw it happen with Jimmy Garoppolo. The Raiders couldn't figure that out. And they're paying for it. McDaniels couldn't figure it out. Mark Davis couldn't figure it out. They're all like, oh, I guess it was the supporting cat. Yeah, it was. Don't forget that Jimmy Garoppolo had like a 103-something rating with Christian McCaffrey last year. Don't forget. He was essentially undefeated with him, except for that one game against the Chiefs. Scary.
Yeah, and that was the first game. That was the Super Bowl champs. Yeah, most certainly. I don't know if I'm going to equate it to Brock. I mean, Brock is
Who brought up Brock? Not me. I didn't do that. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I didn't say anything about Brock.
You're right. You didn't. Never mind. I'm totally bringing this out of left field. But
yeah, that's not fair.
As far as Jimmy goes, I mean, come on, man. This is the problem. It is hard to separate because you can look at all the numbers. The winning percentage remember the graphic for years. Kyle's winning percentage, Jimmy Garoppolo. Look at how, and when he's in, they win. I don't know how to explain it. They just win. Oh, his EPA is top of the league. He's better than Mahomes and Allen and this and that. His quarterback rating is this. None of that mattered. He just wasn't good. The eye test told you that. And now you see it for real. So I'm not surprised.
Sorry, Jimmy. Dave Barclay says, how many players on this team but only touch field for special teams? The backup tight ends, Jair Brown. They traded up for him so he could cover kicks. It's really important. Wow, he's even good. What you didn't understand was those first 3 picks this year, special teams. Cam Latu was going to be special teams, but
none of this draft class is not contributing. I mean, Moody, and then you got one game from Bell, but the draft class is not contributing. And Moody's had he's had his issues. We know that. So it's not. We'll see. We'll see how it red shirts into next year. That seems to be the thing that they do. But as of now, this draft class is not contributing.
Fish and Chip says Jimmy got benched by Niners too. Nothing new here. Kev F says, if they get Harbaugh, could Jimmy G be Alex Smith?
I don't think he'd want Jimmy G.
No, absolutely not. Don't think so. Brother Bob says, guys, stop it. Purdy's better than Montana. Who's better than Mahomes? Who's better than Herbert? True.
Maybe. You might be
That's
right.
that.
It's a good point.